Joining us now at the podium is Ohio State head coach Thad Matta. Matta enters his 9th year with the Buckeyes after guiding the team to the share of the Big Ten title and a Final Four appearance last year. He returns 2 All-Big Ten selections from last season, including Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year Aaron Kraft. Coach, we'll go ahead with an opening statement and then open it up for questions at that point.
Well, obviously glad to be here. We open up, it means basketball is on. I think with this basketball team, with what you lost last year, I've been very pleased with what the guys have done in the offseason, the effort that they've given us thus far. I think they're very, very aware of the challenges that lie ahead. And, like I said, I've liked their demeanor to this point. I've always said this, I don't start thinking about the Big Ten really until late December, trying to keep my sanity knowing how good this league's going to be this year. But I don't know, it'll be another, like I said, great challenge for this team, and our guys are ready to go.
Front right. Front right.
Hey, Coach. Last year, Deshaun transformed himself physically from his freshman to sophomore year, got in much better shape, was more athletic. What big change has he made this year? What areas of improvement has he made in the last 6 months?
Well, I think, first and foremost, Deshaun has made the progression that you make from your freshman to your sophomore year. He changed his body. He's kind of changed it again. He's a lot thinner this year than he was last year. I think the light is on for him in terms of what he has to do to be a fully effective player. I think that the biggest thing, Tom, that I've seen is he now has such a better understanding of the game of basketball, and knowing that there's a lot of different ways that he can affect the game. Rebounding, his defense. I've been very, very pleased with what he's done defensively in practice thus far. And I think the other thing is just an overall mindset of, he understands his teammates. He understands the system that we're trying to implement better, and how he fits in. And it's been amazing to see his attitude, just his leadership that he has provided for these guys.
On the left.
Thad, you've obviously got a lot back, but you also lost a pretty big guy. Just size up your team and what you're expecting and what people should expect from the Buckeyes.
Well, I think anytime you lose 2 players of the caliber that we lost, I mean, we lost, I think 3rd all-time leading scorer in Ohio State history, and Will won, 120 games or something in his 4 years there. You lose a first-team All-American. Jared is definitely one of the greatest players I've ever coached, and you see that now with what he's doing in the NBA with the Celtics. Those guys, you can't replace them, and I think that's one of the challenges you have with your guys, is saying, look, I don't need you to be Jared or William. I need you to be yourself, and I need you to be the best that you can be. In terms of assessing our team, I've seen all of our guys get better, individually, which obviously makes us better collectively. I think from the standpoint we're going to have more depth this year, and probably more interchangeable pieces, guys that can do some different things. We've got speed, athleticism, and hopefully we can continue to play as fast as we possibly can.
Middle left, back here.
Thad, obviously there's a number of freshmen in the past few years who have come in and had big impacts. What's the key to a freshman being ready to make meaningful plays to help a team, not just play in the Big Ten, but really contend?
Well, I think they've got to have it physically. They've got to have a good body, and I think in the years that I've coached in college, probably the most college-ready player I've ever had come in was Aaron Kraft. And you know, what he did with his body before he even got to college was incredible. But I think the next thing is the mind. They've got to be able to think quickly, make quick decisions. They have to understand it's a different basketball game than it was in high school, than it was in their AAU careers. And I think that's probably, you know, the biggest thing you try to get freshmen to understand is the thinking component of the game of basketball, and not just going out there playing. And you know, the freshmen that come in that have a great impact appear to understand the game maybe a little bit better than others.
Front right.
Yeah, Coach, I know you've only been going for about 10, 12 days so far, but the two spots you do lose somebody, the wing and the center position, who are some of the guys that have really stepped up, not necessarily naming a start or anything, but out of that group of guys that we talked about on Media Day, who are the guys that have really shown you something here in the first couple of weeks?
You know, I'll be honest, Steve, I think in my mind I've been very pleased with how everybody has played. Like I said, I've seen improvement in each guy's game. You know, from Amir Williams has really made tremendous strides. You know, Evan Ravenel being our only senior. Again, we face a season with only one senior like we did last year. You know, Trey McDonald has come leaps and bounds in terms of just understanding a skill set. You know, LaQuinton Ross he's getting the meat and potatoes of putting in a system which he didn't have that luxury last year. You know, Sam Thompson has really surprised us just with his overall play. You know, Amadeo being the only freshman, you know, we've been very excited about what he brings to the table. Just his, you know, you talk about a freshman being ready. He understands the game as well as anybody I've ever seen. You know, and he can knock down shots as well. So I don't know if I could pinpoint, you know, just one guy, because like I said, I've liked what I've seen from everybody in terms of improvement.
Left center.
Coach, we know that you've lost a lot of the scoring from last season. Going into this year, are you, is there a particular player that you think is going to need to step up to shoulder that burden, or is that going to be more of a scoring by committee approach?
I think scoring by committee approach. I think from the standpoint of who we have, and I've always said this, I think, you know, the best teams I've ever had, you know, you never knew going into a game who was going to be your leading scorer. And it kind of emerged throughout the course of the game, and I really view this team as that's what is probably going to have to happen for us.
Back left.
Thad, I think you're the fourth or fifth coach to come through here this morning and say what a great league it is this year. What is the difference in the league? You guys have been fairly constant since you took over, very close to the top of the league, but what is the difference that's brought the league to the level that it is now? It's not that long since you guys were eighth in the league eighth in conference RPI as a league.
You know, Mike, I think number one, the Big Ten told us we had to say that, so I'm kidding you. What I've seen over time in the Big Ten is you have great coaches. You have great programs. You know, I've always said this, winning on the road in the Big Ten may be the most daunting task in college basketball. You know, night in, night out, the environments that you go into. But I think one of the biggest things that I've seen in my time is the level of player has really increased. And you know, you couple all that with the guys that are coaching them, I think that's what kind of makes it a great league. And you know, I don't think any of us can walk up here and say, I looked at our schedule and said, I know we're going to win this game. You know, and I think that's why I don't look at it till December, because I don't want to think in terms of that. But it's just, I don't know, you've got, it seems like everybody is at their best. You know, a lot of times, as Ohio State did for a long time, you know, up, down, and everybody appears to be on the upward swing right now.
Time for one final question, back right center.
Coach, John Groce is a guy who's worked for you before. What can the rest of the league expect to see from him as he progresses with that program over at Illinois?
Well, you know, John is we were together for 8 years, I think it was, and you know, he's a guy that number one has tremendous passion to teach and coach the game of basketball. You know, he's got energy. He understands the game. He's proven in terms of what he's done at Ohio University. I think the other thing, and just with talking with John, is he has great passion for the University of Illinois, which I think makes a huge impact from day one. And you know, I know that he feels the need to do his best there, and you know, it's obviously year in, year out a traditional powerhouse. So he's accepting that challenge, and I think Illinois fans will be very happy with him.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this year.
Thank you. I need it.